Hey, Mark from Fleet News Group here. Today we've got the Haval H6 GT. From the outside, this car looks beautiful. We've been dying to drive it because we've seen them on the roads and the styling is really nice. It's a sports luxury look, and you can see here on the seats there's a few little trims on the inside. You've got the GT badging here. So I hope you like this video. We're going to let you know what it's like to drive the Haval H6 GT. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and tell all your friends about our videos. Thanks for watching. Okay, so what do we like, what do we don't like? Well, we certainly like the styling of the Haval H6 GT. We like it inside, lots of nice lines, very well designed, sort of soft touch features, definitely not hard. There's a nice leather on the steering wheel. The seats have a nice leather. Certainly a bit cold in winter, we know about the leather. But they have heated seats. You have heated seats for the passenger, heated seats for the driver, and then you have steering wheel heating as well. The one things we don't like is the infotainment system and how you've got to turn the heated seats on and turn the heated seats off. And it's a couple of buttons. It's not like some of the other manufacturers where it's right there near the gear selector and you just press it and the seats go heated. So when you jump in the morning, you start the car, you've got to wait for the infotainment system to start up. It's only 30 seconds, but then you've got to press the button to find the heated seats, and then you turn the heated seats on. And by that time, you've almost warmed the seats up yourself. So that's one of the things we don't like. Drivability of the H6, we certainly think there's some more work required. We had the hybrid version of the Jolyon a few months ago, and you can watch the video on that. And that was actually quite pleasurable to drive. That hybrid drive system seemed to work quite well. But in this model here, we've got the engine and the gearbox, we've got the manual shifting with the paddles in the gearbox, but it just doesn't seem to work together. It's not, I suppose it's not terrible. Certainly when you get it out on freeway driving, you're heading around the motorways in Sydney, it's a pleasure. It's quiet, it's smooth, but just that inner city traffic, that stop-start, that sort of roundabouts, that sort of doing the rat runs, I guess, you really notice how the engine and gearbox aren't quite in tune with each other. Now, saying all that, the price of this car is under 50 grand. So even when I was talking about the car with some colleagues and we searched up the price, we had to weigh up, what do you want from a car? Do you want it to look good? Yes, tick. Do you want it to have a nice interior? Well, yes, tick. And how do you want it to drive? Well, the driving is maybe something enthusiasts would know more about, but the general, motorist, general car buyer, mum and dad, if you're getting out of a 7 or 8 year old car, then the Haval's going to seem pretty smooth, pretty reliable, pretty good. But it's just when you're someone who's comparing lots of different cars and you know what is available in the market today as far as drivability and smoothness, then the Haval probably doesn't rank up there in that regard. But as I said, if you want a car that looks great, you want on the inside and the outside, you want a car that's got all the features, all the safety and infotainment system, great sound system as well. If that's what you're looking for in a car and you've got less than 50 grand to spend, then the Haval is a nice value package. Driving the Haval, you've got a couple of different modes to select from. You've got your normal mode, you've got your eco mode, and then you've got your sports mode. The other thing you have is race mode. So that was quite funny. It sort of certainly looks like a sports car, but race mode's not something you expected to find. So when we hit the race mode button, the exhaust tone changed. It started to burble a little bit, it was a lot louder. The RPM increased at idle, so you're up about 1200 RPM at idle. The dash changed. You actually got a race style dash. You got tyre pressures, tyre temperatures. You got RPM. Can't even remember what that's called now, but you've got the different look. You've got the circle dials. So it's certainly it may not have become a race car, but it certainly sounded and felt like a race car. So all the aesthetic things they were able to actually change at the press of a button. Driving it in race mode, it actually changes the way it drives as well. It's a bit different to sport mode. In sport mode, it just seems to hold the gears longer, which is what happens in most sport modes. But the sport mode when we went to race mode, it actually changed the shifting altogether. And the car actually drove quite well. It's noisier, and it's like a thoroughbred horse, I think, just waiting to burst out of the barrier on race day. It certainly has that feel about it, that potentness. But I don't know about driving it like that every day. You're certainly going to burn through the fuel, and depending on what you're looking for, if you're looking for fuel economy, then that's not going to work for you. But yeah, it's certainly a little bit of fun just to press. And one time we were sort of on our way somewhere, and the kids thought we were going to be late, so I said, well, let's put it in race mode. It didn't change the way we drove, but it certainly sounded like we were going a lot quicker as well. So yeah, that was a pretty cool feature. The Haval H6 GT is certainly packed with all the features. The safety, you've got the lane warnings in the camera here, you've got the 360-degree camera. Every time you actually put the blinker on, the infotainment screen in the center actually shows you what's around you. So if you're turning the corner, it gives you a camera showing down near the wheels where you're turning, and it also creates that overhead view for you as well, so no matter which way you're turning. That sometimes is a bit annoying, because I didn't realize how many times I'm turning a corner and I'm trying to change a radio station or put the heated seats on. Probably not the safest way to drive. Probably need to be doing those things when you're driving straight ahead. And the infotainment system in the Haval almost forces you to do that, because you can't, when you're turning the corner, you've got the screen showing you what's around you, and you can't make any changes to the radio. So it's probably a safer way to do things, but certainly requires a bit of habit changing, I found. You've got heads-up display as well, so nice bright heads-up display in front of me here, so it shows you the speed, shows you what speed you're traveling, what road sign speeds are, and then it shows you when you've got cruise control. It's got the adaptive cruise control. It shows you where the other cars are around you, and you also get that view on the dash as well, so it's a really immersive system. So if you're traveling along a freeway and you've got the adaptive cruise control, you get a feel for when cars are coming up behind you. So whether you're looking straight ahead at the dash, it tells you with cars in, puts images of the cars that are around you, but you can also see through your mirrors as well, because they certainly show you in cars. So the lane change warning. Then you've also got lane keeping assist as well, which keeps the steering wheel, moves the steering wheel for you. So lots of safety packed in this car. I actually used the emergency rear braking assist. I almost ran into a telegraph pole when I was doing a 3-point turn. Wasn't paying attention, but the car stopped for me, so that was really good. Saved me an insurance excess and worked as it's meant to do. In the Haval H6 GT, we've got Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which really equalises the infotainment systems of any car in the market. They pretty much all become the same once you go into that mode there. We struggle a little bit we didn't struggle trying to set up CarPlay, because down underneath the dash there is 2 USB ports, and I would have thought the USB port on the driver's side was the one for CarPlay, and that's what I did, and CarPlay didn't work. So I changed the cables around, I went and looked in the manual, but this car isn't built as a right-hand drive car, it's built as a left-hand drive car. So the driver's normally on the other side, and guess where the USB port is? It's on the other side. So when you plug it into the passenger side USB port, you can get Apple CarPlay. So yeah, one of those little tricks for young players. There's plenty of storage underneath. They've got like the floating console, so the console's right here. Then underneath there's plenty of storage. You've got a center console as well, which has plenty of storage. You can fit the tissue box, the sunglasses, and a couple of other things, which is really good. You've got cup holders, 2 cup holders here. So all in all, it's a very roomy SUV. 3 kids in the back, fitted, no problems at all. Certainly long trips would be, with teenagers, you'd probably get a few complaints, but you get that with all cars these days, unless you've got the second row seat. So it's certainly a roomy car, certainly a car that you can take the family, 2 kids, and certainly take on a longer drive or a holiday, weekend away, because you've got lots of room in the back as well in the boot. So space is certainly not a problem for the Haval H6 GT.